tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. And has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a
great. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters I think since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was shocked after seeing Terence Crawford's intense training for his upcoming fight with Canelo. Since he's fought Crawford before, Errol knows just how smart and skilled he is in the ring. But this new training footage took things to another level. Crawford's speed, accuracy, and footwork were next level. He looked unstoppable. Fast, powerful, and fully locked in. This version of Crawford is serious trouble, and Canelo would be making a big mistake to take him lightly.
Step right here and roll.
When Terence Crawford looked back on his fight with Errol Spence, it was clear both fighters respected each other's skills. Crawford, famous for his calm and smart approach in the ring, explained how he slowly breaks down his opponents round by round before launching powerful combinations to finish the job.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down. Just wear him down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, like, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, like, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything started weakening, and those little punches that wasn't hurting started hurting.
Former champion and boxing analyst Chris Algieri shared a sharp take when comparing Terence Crawford to Canelo Alvarez. He pointed out that Crawford usually controls every fight he's in, while Canelo has had moments where he was clearly outmatched, like in his loss to Dimitri Bivol. In that fight, Bivol used his size, jab, and discipline to take charge. Algieri believes Crawford's style, built on control, adaptability, and technical skill, could give Canelo serious problems, even though Crawford is moving up in weight.
Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys. Number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that, but I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare, maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you talk about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that just psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic, even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's good. That's gonna come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman offered a fair comparison. saying both Crawford and Canelo bring different strengths to the table. But based on recent form and overall skills, he gave the slight edge to Crawford. Kellerman pointed out that Crawford's timing, ability to switch stances, and knockout power have all reached new levels. On the other hand, Canelo, while still top tier, seems to have slowed down a bit in terms of movement and pressure. Still, Kellerman noted that Canelo's size could play a big role in close-range exchanges. But looking at the full package, speed, accuracy, defense, and versatility, he saw Crawford as the more complete and sharper fighter right now.
Counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guay.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who? I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally small.
The setup for this mega fight is truly interesting. Crawford is moving up in weight, which can be tough on speed and endurance. Meanwhile, Canelo, though used to fighting at this level, isn't as explosive as he used to be. Lately, he's had trouble finishing fights with knockouts and has been relying more on controlled pacing than aggressive pressure. This shift means that while Crawford has a physical challenge ahead, Canelo's decline in certain areas helps balance things out. If Crawford shows up with sharp footwork, smart strategy, and strong conditioning, he absolutely has a real chance to win.
Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class, and in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford, as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part of.
Up-and-coming boxing talent Abdullah Mason shared strong belief in Crawford, predicting a win that could surprise a lot of fans. He pointed out that many people overlook Crawford's power, which he believes is more dangerous than most think. While the talk is mostly focused on Canelo's strength because of his size, Mason offered a different view, saying Crawford's power comes from his timing, angles, and pinpoint accuracy. If Crawford can land clean shots consistently, especially in the later rounds, Mason's bold prediction might just come true.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. I got faith in Crawford. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter that night.
Dimitri Bivol, the fighter who recently defeated Canelo, had strong praise for Terence Crawford. After seeing Crawford up close, Bivol noted that he's added size in the right way and has the tools needed to win this matchup. Bivol's opinion matters. He knows firsthand what it takes to beat Canelo. He highlighted Crawford's discipline, speed, and ring smarts as major advantages. When someone of Bivol's level supports a fighter, it shows that this bout is a lot more evenly matched than many people might think.
When in Dubai, maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jermell Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously.
Keith Thurman shared a thoughtful view on the fight, noting that while it might look evenly matched on the surface, a closer technical look shows key differences. He referred to Canelo's recent fight with Jermell Charlo, where Canelo had trouble once Charlo used smart movement and footwork. Even though Canelo pushed forward, he couldn't trap Charlo or land clean shots when Charlo fought with strategy. Thurman believes Crawford, who's even smarter and more tactical than Charlo, could give Canelo even bigger problems using the same approach, but at a higher level.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight, he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan, joined by comedian and boxing fan Mike Vecchione, had high praise for Terence Crawford. Rogan described Crawford as a top-tier athlete with incredible skill, focus, and dedication. He noted that the upcoming fight with Canelo is both a major test and a huge chance for Crawford to boost his legacy and earn a big payday. Rogan even called Crawford one of the greatest boxers in the world right now and said this fight could lock in his place among the sport's all-time best. Crawford himself shared his thoughts on the matchup. He openly acknowledged the size difference, saying he knows Canelo may try to wear him down with pressure and weight. Still, Crawford spoke with calm confidence, saying he's ready for everything. His mindset shows not just physical preparation, but strong mental focus. He's not overlooking Canelo, he's respecting the challenge while trusting in his ability to adjust. That balance of confidence and awareness is what makes Crawford such a smart and dangerous fighter.
Good, work has been going great, and fight time we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, think it was, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. The odds can't fight for him, so, it is what it is.
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White also shared his thoughts, picking Terence Crawford to win. His reasoning was straightforward. Crawford has dealt with challenges like this before. Even though he's moving up in weight, he's proven he can handle bigger opponents by using smart tactics to cancel out their strengths. Jai said this fight isn't unfamiliar for Crawford. It's just a different opponent on a bigger platform. He's confident Crawford will stay calm and stick to his game plan, fighting with his usual mix of control, power, and sharp precision.
No. So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You'd make money.
Okay.
Just put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to beat him?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who's amazing. Canelo has just, oh my God, like he evolved. I saw how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
Canelo is naturally heavier.
Yeah, Crawford ain't gonna knock him out.
Huh.
But I don't know if Canelo's gonna land very solidly on Crawford.
Calvin Ford, trainer of Gervonta Davis, applauded Terence Crawford for stepping up to such a huge challenge. He pointed out that it takes a special kind of mindset and inner strength to take on a fight where the weight, pressure, and odds are all against you. Ford said that's exactly what sets Crawford apart, his bravery to go after greatness, even when the road is tough. Taking on a challenge this big shows how focused Crawford is on building a legacy, not just collecting wins.
Best example for him.
Last question for you.
Crawford, Canelo, who wins? Man, both of them guys are great. I respect Canelo. I respect Crawford to jump in and take a big fight like that, and that's what makes great fights, to see the big fights and wondering which side gonna win. But like I said, they say Canelo's the GOAT. I remember when Canelo fought Floyd, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like we getting another chance at seeing Crawford fight Canelo.
Veteran trainer Robert Garcia gave an honest take on how Canelo fights today. He explained that Canelo doesn't chase knockouts like he used to. Now he focuses more on fighting smart, winning rounds, saving energy, and avoiding unnecessary damage. Garcia said this change is likely due to age and a focus on extending his career. While Canelo is still very skilled, this more cautious style might not be what Crawford is preparing for. If Crawford takes advantage of that slower tempo, it could shift the fight in his favor.
Look, it's just Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.